From the smoky industrial town of Birmingham to the bright lights of international stardom, few names in the world of music echo with the same thunderous legacy as Ozzy Osbourne. Known to fans as the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy's life is an electrifying tale of rock and rebellion, madness and miracles, love and legacy. The Birmingham Boy. John Michael Osbourne was born on December 3rd, 1948, in Aston, Birmingham, England. Life wasn't glitzy or glamorous in the Osbourne household. His father, Jack Osbourne, worked night shifts as a toolmaker at the General Electric Company, while his mother, Lillian, toiled during the day at a car components factory. The Osbournes were working class, through and through, living in a cramped home with 6 children, where food was simple, money was tight, and dreams were often stifled by the harsh fog of economic reality. Young Ozzy struggled academically and emotionally. Diagnosed later with dyslexia and ADHD, he found school confusing and overwhelming. Yet he had a natural flair for performance and a fascination with music, especially after hearing the Beatles' "She Loves You" on the radio. That moment, Ozzy would say many times, changed my life. Inspired, he dreamed of one day becoming a performer himself. He had a difficult early life, marked by petty crimes and jail time. At age 17, Ozzy found himself behind bars for burglary. He couldn't afford to pay the fine and served 6 weeks in Birmingham's Winson Green prison. But even that time in jail couldn't extinguish his growing hunger for a life beyond the factories and bleak streets of Birmingham. The birth of Black Sabbath. By the late 1960s, the music scene in Birmingham was thriving, with rock bands popping up all over town. Ozzy joined forces with guitarist Tony Iommi, bassist Geezer Butler, and drummer Bill Ward to form Earth, which would soon morph into something much darker and heavier, a band called Black Sabbath. Drawing inspiration from horror films and dark themes, the band crafted a brand of rock music that was unlike anything the world had heard before. Their self-titled debut album, Black Sabbath, released in 1970, was a thunderous, ominous masterpiece, and arguably the birth of heavy metal as a genre. The band quickly followed up with Paranoid later that year, featuring hits like Iron Man, War Pigs, and the iconic title track. With Ozzy's haunting voice and unique presence, Black Sabbath took the world by storm. Ozzy's voice wasn't classically trained, but it was raw, emotional, and unmistakably powerful. He wasn't just singing, he was wailing from some primal place of pain, rage, and surreal wonder. As Sabbath continued releasing hit albums like Master of Reality, 1971, Volume 4, 1972, and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, 1973, Ozzy became the face of the counterculture, rebellious, unpredictable, and dangerously magnetic. Downfall and departure. As the band rose to fame, so did Ozzy's descent into addiction. Drugs and alcohol became a constant in his life. The pressures of fame, non-stop touring, and creative differences led to growing tensions within the band. By 1979, Black Sabbath had had enough. Ozzy was fired, replaced by Ronnie James Dio. For Ozzy, it was a devastating blow. He spiraled into depression and heavier substance abuse. At one point, he locked himself in a hotel room for days, drinking and taking drugs non-stop. Yet from this abyss would rise a remarkable second act, A New Beginning and Sharon. Ozzy's life took a dramatic turn when he met Sharon Arden, the daughter of music manager Don Arden. Sharon believed in Ozzy's talent and potential and helped him launch a solo career. In 1980, Ozzy released his debut solo album, Blizzard of Oz, featuring legendary guitarist Randy Rhoads. The album was a massive hit, containing now classic tracks like Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley. Rhodes' neoclassical guitar style paired perfectly with Ozzy's vocals, giving him a revitalized and distinctive sound. Tragedy struck in 1982 when Randy Rhodes died in a freak airplane accident. Ozzy was devastated. Rhodes was not only a brilliant guitarist, but had become a dear friend. Despite his grief, Ozzy pressed on with his solo career, releasing albums like Diary of a Madman, Bark at the Moon, The Ultimate Sin, and No Rest for the Wicked. During this era, Ozzy developed his reputation as a madman, famously biting the head off a bat on stage in 1982. The moment would become legendary, even though Ozzy later claimed he thought it was a toy. Love and Madness, Life with Sharon. Ozzy and Sharon were married on July 4, 1982, and their relationship became one of the most enduring and dramatic in rock history. Sharon was his rock, both figuratively and literally. She managed his career, dealt with the chaos of his addiction, and often saved him from himself. Their marriage wasn't without its troubles. Ozzy's substance abuse, erratic behavior, and legal issues, including a notorious 1989 incident where he was arrested for attempting to strangle Sharon during a drug-fueled blackout, nearly tore them apart. Yet Sharon stood by him, and he eventually sought help, entering rehab multiple times. Together, they had 3 children, Amy, Kelly, and Jack. Amy chose to live a more private life, avoiding the spotlight. Kelly and Jack, on the other hand, embraced fame, especially when the Osbourne family invited the world into their chaotic household with the hit MTV reality show The Osbournes in 2002. The Osbournes was a game-changer. The show depicted the daily life of the eccentric Osbourne family, complete with profanity-laced outbursts, pet antics, and Ozzy's often confused mumbling and stumbling. It became a massive success, endearing Ozzy to a new generation who knew little about Black Sabbath but loved the quirky dad who couldn't work the TV remote. Suddenly, Ozzy was everywhere, from Rolling Stone covers to Super Bowl commercials. But this new wave of fame came with renewed challenges. The family struggled with substance abuse, health scares, and the toll of public scrutiny. In 2003, Ozzy had a near-fatal ATV accident, breaking multiple bones and requiring emergency surgery. The incident was a wake-up call and further motivation for him to commit to healthier living, health battles, and farewell tours. Despite the toll of years of rock and roll excess, Ozzy kept pushing forward. He reunited with Black Sabbath multiple times over the years, including a highly successful farewell tour and the 2013 album 13, which debuted at number 1 on the Billboard charts. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2003, a fact he publicly revealed in 2020. He also dealt with neck and spinal issues that required surgery. Yet through it all, Ozzy remained defiant. His 2020 solo album Ordinary Man, featuring collaborations with Elton John, Slash, and Post Malone, showed that his creative fire still burned. He followed up with Patient Number 9 in 2022, earning critical acclaim and even winning a Grammy Award. Though he's slowed down and may never tour again, Ozzy's spirit remains unbreakable. He's a survivor, a warrior of rock, and a living legend who refused to be tamed. Ozzy Osbourne's legacy is monumental. He didn't just help create heavy metal, he is heavy metal. From his powerful vocals and stage presence to his unapologetic weirdness and dark charisma, Ozzy broke boundaries and rules and inspired generations of musicians. His children have followed various paths. Jack became a TV personality and documentary filmmaker. Kelly, a fashion icon and media figure, and Amy, a singer, in her own right. The Osbourne legacy stretches beyond music. It's cultural. In 2023, Ozzy and Sharon returned to the UK after decades in the US, signaling a full-circle moment in the Prince of Darkness's long journey. Ozzy Osbourne died this week at 76, just weeks after his farewell show and about 5 years after announcing he had Parkinson's disease. From the dusty streets of Aston to the global pantheon of rock gods, Ozzy Osbourne has lived many lives: the outcast, the addict, the showman, the father, the survivor. His story isn't just about music, it's about chaos and redemption, madness and love. And even as time chips away at his body, Ozzy's soul, rebellious, raw and unforgettable, roars louder than ever. Please subscribe.